everyone. Thanks for joining us for another Zor Zoom interview. We are Matt and Jennifer Lucas with the franchising company. Today we have Ray and Jen with us from MosquitoNix. And so thank you both for joining today's conversation. If you don't mind, just take a couple of seconds, introduce yourselves, and give us just that 30-second high overview of MosquitoNix.
No, awesome. Well, Matt, Jennifer, thank you so much for having us on. These are always so much fun for us to do and to talk MosquitoNix. I'll do a real brief introduction of myself. So, name is Ray Reichard, and I'm one of the heads of development at Fran Dev Co. And we're a partner with MosquitoNix, and proud to be partnered with them. And just background on me. So, been in franchising. This is year 25. So I'm very pro franchising, seen it change people's lives, and as we get into some of the things today, there's just so many things I love about MosquitoNix and Jen and her husband Mike's story, and what's happening with us now with all the growth since we launched franchising the last year. It's just so fun to see. And that's kind of, just the background on me. That's kind of my why, to see not just brands grow, but, as you guys are very familiar with, people go through the process. What should I do? And then, MosquitoNix is so unique, and we're growing very fast, but we've been able to identify a lot of great people, and the journey's just getting started. So I think that's one of the things I enjoy most. And I'll turn it over to you, Jen, to introduce yourself, to connect a little bit of the story, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ray. Thank you guys for having us on. We're really excited. Big fans of you guys and all of your knowledge. So it's an honor to be here with you and your followers today. My name's Jen O'Neill. I run operations for MosquitoNix and MosquitoNix Elves, which are two of our entities that we kind of have bundled up in our umbrella. We are a true family company. So been a tightly held family company for 20 years. And we expanded, across the country in a few specific areas corporately over those 20 years. Long story short, my husband and I moved from Dallas, Texas to Jacksonville, Florida back in 2016 because we wanted to see what it was like to open up an office from scratch. And we picked probably one of the most difficult places to come into in our minds. And that was intentional. We really wanted to test out a lot of our processes and solutions. And we saw that a lot of things weren't working right. And it was the best thing that we learned, because we kind of got to, grit down together and create some really streamlined processes. And for us, we decided, franchising was kind of the reward for putting in all those blood, sweat, and tears to create, such a streamlined process. So started franchising back in January of 2024. And as Ray alluded, it's been an amazing ride so far. We are very blessed to have grown our family with a lot of amazing franchisees. And such an honor, to be able to share our brand with so many new families and help them build, reoccurring revenue and wealth from this business.
So right out of the box, we love this brand, obviously. The first objection we always get is there are mosquito brands left and right. So tell us what makes MosquitoNix different.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's really one of the reasons why we picked Jacksonville, actually, when we wanted to open up our business. So every mosquito brand was in Jacksonville and had been in Jacksonville for many years. Every pest control company sprayed for mosquitoes. So we were really coming into a very established market from an industry perspective where we had zero brand awareness. But the big thing, and it's behind me right here, is our differentiator. We install insect misting systems. So we are leveraging technology to treat properties and provide permanent protection rather than putting, a human out at a property to spray a yard and only provide temporary reprieve. So although the end result, is not even result, but the end intention is the same, of trying to rid properties of mosquitoes. The means of doing it and the results are very different. Our insect misting systems truly provide permanent protection. And again, it's a very low labor type of model because we are utilizing that technology to treat.
So one of the things that I love most is that it's not just recurring revenue from the services provided, but the actual stuff that you put in the misting systems, it's yours. And so in order for these systems to work, they have to keep buying more stuff. So they're locked in. So that's I think that's what really sets you guys apart from all the rest is they've spent the money on the system. So if they want it to work, they have to have you there, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, it's something we're really proud of. We obviously want to sell franchises, we want to have customers, but we want really happy people, to be associated with our brand. And even before we kind of had some of the smart technology that we now have and have had for several years, over the years, we've maintained a 98% customer retention rate, which is absolutely huge. And we do attribute that to our amazing products and our amazing solutions that are safe, but also to our team and Fran Dev Co and Ray. They've been so great about bringing wonderful people into our pipeline because we're very focused on growing the brand with the right people because we know that severely impacts all of our other franchisees across the country.
No, that's fantastic. And so obviously you've got two sides of the business. So we'll get to the holiday lighting because especially this time of year, being in November, that's top of mind for everybody. But sticking to the insect system at the moment. So places in colder climates, right? So not down here in Florida or in the Southeast, what does that look like for an owner? And does it still work up in the North, maybe in the Northeast or wherever, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question because there is some seasonality to our business. And shockingly, and you guys will understand this, but there's seasonality in the warm climates too. So Florida is actually kind of slower in the summer because it's so gosh darn hot that nobody really wants to be outside unless they're in the water. So, outdoor living looks very different than like sitting in a chair, by a fire pit, or outdoor grilling. There's not a lot of that in the summertime. Whereas up in the north, it's very busy at that time. But obviously, the climates are different. The insects are different. That's not just from north to south. That's east to west. That's every single area, across the country. And what's great about our insect misting systems is that they not only treat for mosquitoes, but a variety of other insects. Some of the biggest that kind of impact those more northern markets are fleas and ticks, as well as flies. So, we've actually had misting systems up in Ohio and Connecticut and New Hampshire for many, many years, really just kind of testing out the solutions, testing out the insects response. And it's been very positive. And Ray can even tell you, we've had a lot of really great sales up in the north just because of that tick control more than anything. It's such a top priority for people. And what a lot of people don't realize, but Dallas, Texas, which is where all of our products are made and solutions made, that's also a very seasonal business. Our misting systems only run for 9 months out of the year there. We have to winterize our systems because we get hard freezes in Dallas and Texas. And so the process is, although a lot of people don't think of Dallas as being cold weather climate, it functions the same as a lot of our further north markets. So lots of years, 20 years of experience in kind of handling some of those climate objections.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you touched on that because that was going to be my next question is, do you have to winterize the system? And so you already hit that nail. So talk to us a little bit about like lead generation. So as a franchise owner, where do I find my customers?
Yeah. So there's so many places, right? And you guys understand, right? Even how you guys find your leads. The customer journey, especially in the home service space, has really changed over the years. And I think that's one thing that I really give massive kudos to our marketing team is just really helping us to understand and navigate how consumers are wanting to find MosquitoNix elves, pest control, temporary treatments, all of our offerings. And they're all very different, right? And how we create funnels of lead sources for each division are very different. But I would tell you the one thing that we always come back to is having a variety. So our franchisees, one of the first things that happen when they come on board with us is really understanding the full marketing mix, because there's not one lever that you can pull and think that it's going to work all on its own. We know that people, want to check a website. They want to read blogs and be more informed. They want to read reviews. They want to have social media. They obviously need those digital ads, but they also want a humanized brand, right? They want to see somebody who's active in the marketplace, maybe some yard signs, direct mail, but really out getting entrenched in the community and being a part of, the chambers or networking groups, or local schools and churches and, different things that the franchisees find passion in. So we really help them build a great kind of lead source and funnel. But what's kind of great about that is we actually do all the sales for our franchisees. So we have.
I was hoping you would say that. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we found it to be really helpful. I mean, even in our corporate offices, to be quite honest with you, it just is such a time saver. And it really started as a time saver for our clients. So, our clients we were hearing them say, we don't want to wait for somebody to come out to our property. We need the information now. We want to be able to see what this is all about. Two spouses, right, might not be in the same place at the same time, but they both want to hear the pitch. And so we started selling everything virtually, about 3-4 years ago. Actually, it's longer now. Sorry, I keep forgetting. It was in 2019, before COVID, as crazy as that sounds. And we just saw such a huge impact. We were selling more deals faster and at a higher close rate, and at a higher purchase price. And so, we deployed that across all of our offices, and it's been a massive benefit for our franchisees too, because they can focus on doing some of those grassroots initiatives, building really strong partnerships, getting involved in the community, and servicing their clients, and kind of helping.
Not having to pay for an additional employees, because you guys are the marketing arm for them. That is a big deal to a lot of the people that we work with, that they're looking for, is that they're not that strong in sales. So this is a huge asset.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too.
Oh,
sorry. No, I was going to say, I'll tell you too, like I love talking to people, as you'll hear me because I never shut up, but I'm not a salesperson. Like I was telling Ray yesterday, I can talk about MosquitoNix till I'm blue in the face because I love our products and our brand and everybody that's part of our team. But I do not close deals. Like I'm not good at sitting here like being like, okay, let's get the contract signed, And so I think that's important, that our franchisees don't have to be able to handle all these objections. They don't have to have strong closing, capabilities. They can really just be in love with the brand and passionately talk about it. And that's really what's required of them.
So another part that I love is all the technology, the automation. Can you speak a little bit about, the getting the estimates quickly and the presentations, all the automation? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So automation of the misting systems, or just in general with the sales process?
Let's go both.
Okay, cool. So yeah, our misting systems have really evolved over the years. What's cool is that when we started out in 2003, we were actually buying from a supplier. And we hit the ground running. We really made a splash in the residential space. And all of a sudden we had tons of product failure. And we were like, well, this is not good, right? We have a lot of clients and the product's not working. So instead of, freaking out, we said, okay, let's turn this into a positive, and created our own products company. So that was back in 2005. We are still the only company that makes our own misting systems, installs them, and services them. There's been a lot of evolution over the years with our technology, but one of the biggest ones was a few years ago, we deployed what we call smart systems. They track all the levels, they track a bunch of details about the misting systems for our franchisees. And just from an efficiency standpoint, they've been an absolute game changer. We, used to have to hire one technician for about every 150 missing system clients. Now we know that we can have at least 300 missing system clients for one technician, but it could even be more. So, you know, just the immense technology. My brother-in-law, Patrick, runs that division, and they're always disrupting, they're always challenging, they're always just, you know, being really strategic with some new items that are coming out, and even now, right, there's so much cool stuff happening in R&D, which is one thing I love about the brand, is we're not afraid to strategically push the envelope to really you know, disrupt an industry. And that comes back to disrupting an archaic sales process in the pest control industry, right? And most of the time it's, you know, a guy coming out to a house and looking around and giving a quote, and, you know, having to have the homeowner there and taking up a lot of time on both ends, right? The customer's end and on the business's end. And then we've really changed that. You know, we can present some really stellar designs through our online technology of reviewing the home and reviewing the outdoor space and understanding where the client wants to enjoy. And, you know, within a matter of minutes, we can get them all the information they need and get that deal signed.
Yeah, I mean, that's at least in my viewpoint, I mean, all the technology, all the automation, I mean, all that's great. The fact that you handle the sales calls like that, that's the game changer as an owner. You know, I mean, that's a huge weight off your shoulders as an owner.
Yeah. And, you know, by no means do I want to say it makes it easy for them. You know, it's still business. It's still difficult. And we still do need their participation, especially in some of those, you know, grassroots initiatives. We've definitely seen that our franchisees that want to be included in the community and, you know, want to get involved, they have a little bit of a faster success than, you know, some of ours that just rely solely on kind of just standard brand awareness. But it is a huge relief that they don't have to, you know, be as educated in all of the items that come up in the sales process, and also just like the clerical work. I mean, a lot of people don't think about that, but like getting the contract, getting it over to the client, getting it signed, getting it into their customer portal, like, you know, that's about 12 minutes of clerical work for every single job that's signed. And, you know, seconds add up to minutes, add up to hours, add up to days. And if we can be a part of helping them be more strategic with their time, you know, that's what we're here to do.
And so that leads to a couple of questions. So number one, talk to us about licensing requirements. I know it probably varies by state, but just kind of give us an overview of what an owner would need to be considering. And number two, what is the role of the owner? I mean, do you allow for semi-active ownership? Do they need to be full-time active in the business? If you can touch on those two things, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. So, first, I love that you asked about the licensing because it's a huge part to this business. We look at it as a massive blessing that there is a barrier to entry with needing what's called a certified operator in charge. Regardless of what state you're in, you need a certified operator. And it is a person who is on your books to help keep you compliant with the state and local laws. Every state is different and what they require. Some states, you know, you can just go and take a test and you can become the certified operator. Some states, you have to have somebody that's been in the industry for years in order to take that test. So it is state specific. But one of the best things is that we actually have resources that help pair our franchisees with their certified operators. So whereas, you know, when we moved to Jacksonville to open, we were like, where the heck are we going to find this guy? You know, we had to go and search all over and do a bunch of job postings and hire like a full-time individual at a very hefty salary. That was one of the processes that I said was a little broken. And so throughout that, we've actually found two really wonderful vessels that basically help us vet individuals that have this license and can, you know, be added to the business at a small monthly retainer, which really just helps to expedite the whole licensing process. And also just, you know, again, with keeping them compliant without having to pay, you know, a large salary to a full-time employee.
Okay, I like that. And then
And then
what
your
about
second-
the owner?
Yes,
Yep.
sorry. I knew I was going to forget. I almost told Ray to remind me, but yeah.
I was gonna say I've never heard Ray so quiet. I mean I'm like, what is happening?
I knew
Well,
that joke was
Jennifer,
coming, Jennifer. That was
yeah,
coming.
I was
No,
going to
this
say
is awesome.
I don't think I give him a second to speak. So, you know, that's probably my own fault. But yeah, I mean, Ray, if you want to take this question, you can.
I mean, you're doing well. I mean, just keep going. If there's anything else to fill in,
I forgot what the question is.
Call it,
No,
call it
it's,
to me.
so
I
it's
wrote it
about
down.
just like the types of owners, right? And so one of the benefits to MosquitoNix is that we really can function with a variety of different owners, and we have all different types. So we have owner operators, we have semi-active, and we have full, we call them executive, where, you know, it's a very passive business model. And right now, currently, we have all three different types that are active in our system. And kind of owner operator, you really need one dedicated individual for this business. And so that's the person, right? If it's owner operator, they are, you know, in there, you know, inputting the inventory, talking with the clients, doing the installs, doing the services, reviewing the work orders. They're doing the day-to-day operations, as well as some of those grassroots initiatives, you know, going to maybe a B&I group or a chamber event, putting out yard signs, again, kind of nurturing those client relationships. The semi-active, they usually have a service manager. So again, one dedicated individual for the business who's doing a lot of the labor work, right? So they're going and doing the installs, they're managing the inventory, checking the work orders, but they're probably not doing as much of the networking and kind of grassroots initiatives. Some, but maybe not all of them. And then the, you know, full CEO or executive model, they are the owner, and they've hired somebody to fully do all of the grassroots initiatives, all of the installations, all of the client management. You know, we have one right now who I don't know that he's ever even jumped on a call, to be quite honest with you, but he's got a great team that really, you know, helps him kind of do all the day-to-day of the business. So it really can function in a variety of different capacities. And I think that's the beauty with, you know, a reoccurring revenue model, is to have that flexibility.
So do you require a certain number of territories to be purchased in order to do the investor model or the semi-passive model? Semi-active, sorry. No, you can.
No, we do not.
That's awesome.
And then talk to us a little bit about what does that investment level look like? And then I want to jump over to the holiday lights or the elves side of the business.
I love it. Ray, do you want to answer this one?
No, absolutely. So I guess the easiest way, Matt, to kind of connect the dots here, we have owners that start with, you know, kind of piggybacking off your last question. We have owners that start with, I think, Jen, we have owners that own one territory, owners that own two, several that own three, several that own four. But I'll kind of break it down because it's just it's territory based. So we don't have any brick and mortar. You know, we do launch in several at one time. It's more how the marketing works. But to start with, you know, the basics, one territory, and you know, all in item 7 numbers are 120 to about 155. What's most common, depending on the market, because we do have the largest territories in the category. So our territories have 60,000 plus qualified households, over 100,000 in income. So they're very large, sometimes twice as large as our competitors. So there's some cities like Louisville that you own the entire market for right around 200,000 all in. So a 200,000 startup for 2 territories. That's probably most common. Market like Charlotte is 6, where we have an owner there that, you know, that owns all 6 of those markets, and, you know, open in the middle. And you know, that investment is just, you add additional franchise fee depending on the model. You know, you'll have a little bit more working capital if you're running a full model, putting a manager in place. But for each territory, there's a discount as you go up. So what's most common is that 2 to 4, but you can keep the investment for 2 under 200,000, which, you know, backs into some of the financing questions where a lot of our owners who have done 2 territories, you know, they can do an express, you know, SBA loan at around 150, 50 down, you know, and conserve a lot of capital. And, so that's kind of the beauty of the MosquitoNix model, as you guys have heard of a lot, and know a lot already of it, is that it's a relatively low investment with minimal employees in that customer acquisition center. You also don't need this tons of working capital because you're not going to need, all of this labor that are doing the foggings. So, any follow-up questions on that? Does that help with some of
No,
the?
that's perfect. Thanks. That was detailed. I appreciate that. It just kind of gives our viewers kind of an idea of, what that stair step looks like, and it's mainly the additional franchise fee for additional territory, not a whole lot of additional cost to get
Correct.
into multi-units, which is great. So let's talk about the holiday lights, the elves. So clearly in the colder climates, this is perfect because it kind of offsets the slow period, right? But talk to us a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, so it's the most magical time of the year for sure. We started doing holiday lighting and decor with our MosquitoNix elves back in 2006. So this is not something new. I like to preface that first because I think a lot of people hear holiday lighting and they see the dollar signs that just start coming at them, but they don't understand the immense difficulty that holiday lighting can be from an operational perspective. This is not our first rodeo. We have multiple offices, like I said, across the country that have been doing this for many, many years, 15, 18 years. And so, it originally started because we were trying to retain our staff full time for the year. And I think that's kind of one of the reoccurring trends that you'll see through MosquitoNix is most of our innovation, most of our trends is coming from either helping our team or helping our clients. And this one was definitely started out as helping our team. We said, hey, what's something that we can do that seems natural to our business? And although these two options look very different, the actual installation is very similar, right? We're up on eaves, we're meticulous with lines, we're trying to hide those lines. Holiday lights, obviously, our holiday lights here are very visible, right? Whereas these little nozzles are very hidden, but how they function is almost identical. And so our team already had the skill set. We said, we'll just send out an e-blast to our existing clients. And back in the day, a very large majority of them said, we want this. And so we said, wow, okay, great. Solved our problem of, keeping our staff retained. And quickly we saw we're solving another problem of our clients need the service and we can provide it. And so since it has just, absolutely blown me away by how big of a revenue item this ends up becoming for our teams. In 2023, holiday lighting and decor made up 18% of total revenue in the Jacksonville, Florida market. So, a 45-day sprint, making up for about 18% of the revenue. It's a big game changer. But we have multiple markets that actually launched with holiday lighting and decor. We have 3 new offices that will be launching December 1st, really to capitalize on those couple weeks of holiday lighting and decor. And what we found, honestly, is that it also ends up being great marketing for our normal side of the business. This is a very front of house, very visible item, whereas our misting systems are very back of house, hidden item. So the holiday lights kind of give our franchisees a chance to get their name out and show something beautiful and exciting and fun that then we can go back and cross-sell that client again through the customer acquisition center come, the spring season.
So on your lights, are these permanent light fixtures? Do you put them up and take them down each year? How does that work?
Yep. So they are standard, holiday lights that go up and they come back down. So nothing is owned by the homeowner. The franchisee actually owns all the inventory, which is huge because it gives them flexibility on both sides with how that inventory is maintained and used. But yeah, the franchisees will basically go. They will, actually, it starts with the customer acquisition center, right? So again, the customer acquisition center is designing the custom design for the homeowner, sending that grid to the franchisee, in which the franchisee is taking that, going and doing the installation, whether it be, eave lighting, greenery, reefs, path lighting, tree lighting, so many different options. the customer has it up for the season. And then, at the end of the season, the franchisee will come back and take it all down, store it for them, and then they have it for next year if they do want to move forward again. If not, then those lights will be used at another client's house. But, even with holiday lighting and not binding by a contract, we have a 90% retention rate with holiday lighting and decor. So again, that just speaks to the quality of our products and also to our training with our team on how great they are at delivering a really beautiful and seamless process.
And so franchise owners, I'm assuming they're getting some type of storage unit to store the lights and or the misting equipment.
Yep. So as Ray said, we don't need an office. We encourage against an office. All a franchisee needs to start is about a 200 square foot storage unit. So that is used to house all of the material for the insect misting systems, the temporary fogging treatments, the pest control, as well as the holiday lighting and decor. And as that business expands, depending on how many holiday light clients they have, we help advise the franchisee as to when they might want to look for a larger space. But that size unit really helps them just to kind of get started and house all of their material and inventory.
Awesome.
Awesome. So there's just so many things. So low investment, minimal employees, no office space, quick. It is a quick ramp up, right? I haven't even asked that question. How fast can you get up and running?
Yeah. So depending on obviously funding, right? We have a 10 to 12 week launch timeline. And I will tell you that knock on wood, every one of our franchisees has been able to open within that time frame so far, which is a huge honor for us. And they aren't pulling their hair out, which is great. We actually had our first all hands call with our whole entire franchise group yesterday, which was really fun. But yeah, 10 to 12 weeks. It's a lot of things that happen. And one thing that I haven't totally touched on here yet, but we are part of the FranWorth portfolio, which just means that we have a lot of people on our franchise team. So, me and my husband and our family, we know MosquitoNix backwards and forwards, but we knew nothing about franchising until, we went down this journey. And so we partnered with Fran Dev Co, Ray, and bringing in these wonderful people into our system. But we also partnered with FranWorth. And they really help to build and incubate and grow franchise systems. Some of the most amazing brands that people know about are through the FranWorth portfolio. And, we have a dedicated onboarding team that is with our franchisees every step of the way, from simple tasks like making sure their email actually works, isn't just set up, all the way through, getting their certified operator, right? So they have that dedicated individual, which has just been an absolute game changer. Because it's a lot, right? No matter how easy or fast the ramp up is, it's still a business, and it's a lot of tactical things, especially for people who have never done it before, and it can be scary. And sometimes there's moments where we have to talk people off the ledge. But having that dedicated support team is really helpful to make sure the process stays smooth.
Awesome. I mean, I know we've covered an awful lot here, so thank you both very much for your time. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would want everybody to know?
Do you want me to go now, Jen, or?
Yeah, sure, Ray. Touch on it.
Hey, the only thing I said, I told you guys that it's so much fun to talk about MosquitoNix, and Jen, you just do a great job. It comes from, you live and breathe it, right? It's a family business, and that's the part that just connecting the dots. And just Jennifer, taking it back to your question, we're so blessed to represent and work with these guys every day. But to kind of connect the question, Matt, to what we didn't talk about, I love this opportunity for, just because it matches for what a lot of people are looking for. Simple service. We know the demand's there, which leads, Jennifer, right to that question. Okay, a lot of people are customers of insect, or mosquitoes, products or companies now. So really the differentiators where your head goes first. Then you get in the process with us and you realize we're one of the originals. So 20-year history. You got the FranWorth connection, a lot of support there. But the main thing, Matt, we didn't touch on is that all of that, that investment level, having the customer acquisition center, not needing the same number of employees, the ROI potential with MosquitoNix is not only unique, versus any other mosquito company in the size of territory as well, what you can make, but just really unique of what that ROI can be versus all other service brands because of those things that are at this investment level where you can do multi-unit and grow an empire. And Jen, I'll let you hit on it, but what we talked a lot about Jacksonville of what these guys built. But when a candidate or somebody, and really us, just going through the process, those numbers really stick out. So when someone goes through our process and gets to the item 19 of the FDD, they're going to see the potential for over 35% nets. And then with the smart systems, Jen, if you want to touch base and share the Jacksonville numbers, what you guys were able to accomplish with 4 employees, you combine that, Matt and Jennifer, with its recurring revenue model, incredibly predictable. Let's say you want to retire to the south of France and sell it, much higher multiple because it's predictable income. So, but Jen, I'll let you hit on that because we didn't talk numbers at all, which, sometimes we lead with.
Yeah,
I would
no, for sure.
let that go. It is a very incredibly impressive item 19, but you
The
take
floor is yours.
I don't know. Now I just want to go to the south of France. So, but yeah. So, Jacksonville obviously was the market that, my husband and I came and started from scratch. And we still, it's not exactly the same as what our franchisees would see when they open up. We have a lot in Jacksonville of what we call dumb systems. So they don't have the full smart technology capabilities. Jacksonville also had an office for a long time. So, that was another item. We started out with multiple vehicles, multiple salespeople. We had all the things that now we know are not needed. But even with that said, kind of in 2023, they did about 1.6 million in revenue, like Ray said, with a 36% net. 18% of that was holiday lighting and decor. And I think the biggest kind of shocking item is that that's with 4 technicians. So not a lot of people in order to make that turn. And that's kind of one thing that we don't always touch on, but I think is important. One of the biggest differences between us and another pest control brand, really another home service brand, is that you don't need a lot of employees, but you also don't need a lot of clients. So I think people come in thinking like, oh, I have to, ramp up to hundreds and hundreds or thousands of clients, and you don't. It's a lot less needed than I think people assume because of that recurring revenue model. Another thing is just that the solution that we're spraying is totally organic. It's all safe. We are a solution that actually has the word safe on our label, which is kind of unheard of in our industry. It's something we're really proud of as well, because we not only want to make sure that, we're creating safe environments for homeowners and their kids and their pets and their plants, but also for the teams, right, that are in it and breathing it and experiencing it every single day. So I would encourage, especially people that are looking, at buying a franchise system, specifically in, the pest control industry, look at what you're going to be surrounding yourself with on a daily basis, or putting your team in contact with on a daily basis. If it's something that requires, a lot of PPE, then maybe it's something that, you want to look at the risk hazard of being around that. And, that risk isn't associated with MosquitoNix and our teams.
So to circle back to an important comment, so you talked about not needing as many clients as you think you might. So can you give us just a ballpark on that 1.6 million that you're doing out of Jacksonville? How many customers did that equate to? And then for a franchisee comparison, how many territories would that be if it was a franchisee owned location?
No, Matt, that's perfect. To kind of tie a bow on it, if you and I were opening today, Jacksonville is about 3 territories. So taking that through that, it's about a 250 all-in startup. 4 employees, just taking last year's numbers. I want to say, Jen, at the beginning of the year, it was about 470 misting systems. There's some crossover with the holiday lighting customers are the same, so it's not as many customers. And that's where you're getting that gross line. And then with those 4 employees and that net, like Jen said, it still has an office in, there's some other costs there that a franchisee wouldn't have, but it's 586,000 net in EBITDA that a candidate would see. So 4 employees, 250 start, that number, and then you're, under that 500 customers is, to connect those 4 lines.
Incredible return on a $250,000 investment.
Unique without the leases, right? Without the real estate, without the other, components that you're connected to. So it makes it, unique in just this franchise space in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. No, this is exciting stuff. Thank you both very much. And I'll wrap it up by just saying that if you are interested in hearing more, shoot me a text at 270-215-2844. I'll get with Ray and Jen. We'll make sure your territory is available and then talk through some next steps.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, talking to you soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.